Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. This is Jock, and I am the founder and developer of the Holistic Network. And in my work, I get the pleasure of meeting, talking to, learning from, and generally having a good chit chat with all these experts that are part of our Holistic Network. And today, it's quite exciting for me because this subject matter that we're going to jump into is probably connected to the supplement field, but not really in the supplement field. And if you're like me, you take supplements, you take herbal remedies, and as everybody will know who knows me, I totally reversed type 2 diabetes by using a holistic application and utilizing herbs and various other things. So, welcome to the show, Optimizing Human Potential. My guest, Kimberly, who is one of our life members and an expert in the herbal world. Kimberly,
Thank you.
welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Kimberly, what got you into this world? What got you into the holistic lifestyle?
Well, good question. Well, I've been a caretaker all my life. I love taking care of my family, my grandparents. So I do
Right.
caretaking. Unfortunately, I've been in like 3 or 4 different car accidents, and they were life threatening. So
Wow.
I, I had to change my lifestyle completely to recover from those car accidents. I was walking around with a cane for 6 months. So I had to do physical therapy. I had to learn
Wow.
how to walk again. I did water therapy, which is really great. And then from there, I had to change my entire lifestyle. So I went to the holistic field and dived right in. And I studied on YouTube for a little bit, watched a lot of
Right.
tutorials about lifestyle and diet and alkaline your body and what that was for me. And so it just transformed my mind, my spirit, and my body. So I was curious and I dived right in and went to school for it as well and became certified.
What made you interested in the herbal world? Because the holistic world is massive, right? We've got
Yeah,
massage therapy, hypnotherapy, but the herbal world is quite unique, and I
it
mean it
is.
takes a lot of training and a lot of knowledge.
It really does. It takes a lot of training. I'm still learning every day. It takes a lot of research. I would say if you're a researcher, if you like to learn and you don't think you know it all and you want to learn it all, it's a great field to get into.
Why herbs though? Why did you jump into herbs and not like because you had accidents and you were on a cane, physical therapy, massage, healing touch?
Yeah.
What was why the herbs?
Well, herbs, it's a part of my lifestyle, part of my diet, and I
Right.
do license in agriculture and farming. So I like to farm and I like to plant
Ah,
crops and fruits and vegetables, tomato plants. And I learned from my grandparents, they passed that down from farming. My grandmother, she studied nutrition. So I
right.
thought about studying supplements from nutrition and farming and then just combining everything together.
Did you find, Kimberly, did you find when you went through your accident that we always know that when we have accidents or we have any illness,
Yes.
Western medicine always tries to put us onto drugs, puts us on all sorts of other things. Did you find that you were kind of caught in that cycle for a bit as well?
Yes, they tried to catch me in it, and I had like a lot of friends remind me and family, and they sent me reminders. They were like, "Hey, you're an herbalist, so don't forget to like love yourself and heal yourself, and stay out of the hospital." So
How long did it take you to heal from your trauma?
it took about, I want to say, overall 6 years because it happened 2 years apart from each other and 3 different occasions.
Wow. Okay.
So it took about 6 years because it was like a lot of trauma. Every time I would get in a car, I'd be traumatized.
Mm,
So I had to like really just change my entire way of me thinking, the way that I eat, the way that I see food. I had a concussion as well in the car accident. So my brain was just thinking totally different. It was almost like I saw the light of
right.
everything that we need to change in our life, far as our diet and our habits, our go-tos, our snacks, junk food. I just started seeing everything totally different. It was a new light for me.
Now, you mentioned that this passion for the
Yeah.
holistic living was brought down from your grandmother, and I'm not surprised because all of our grannies and my granddad was a great. He used to grow his own vegetables and things like that. Never a
Well,
herbalist, right enough, but it came down from your grandmother.
I did. I learned from my grandmother. She studied a lot of supplements and She studied more so all of the supplements, not the food sources, but just
Right.
like supplements, like I would say vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin C. So I was like, well, how can we get that in a food source? So I studied science and physiology and anatomy and math as well.
When did you decide then you from that side of things that I guess you were not always involved in this business wise or
No.
it's a passion. So I mean, you had an accident. It nearly took your life. It's taken you 6 years to obviously redevelop that. What made you think? Where was your drive in? You know what? I want to serve and do this as a business.
Well, when the outbreak happened during COVID around
Hmm.
2019, a lot of my friends and family were just like super sick, and they just like they weren't themselves anymore. I couldn't see them like that because their children were sick around them. And I was just like, oh, these babies are so sick. And when I
Wow.
see people like that, I have a heart. So I've always had this empath heart where I see people, if they're sick, I need to put my hands on them, give them a hug, or heal them. I just have that healing love in me.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, how can I combine that love in my heart with the herbs to heal the people? And that's what really got me started with the healing process.
So you had you're a natural born healer, really, and you're drawn to people who need your love and touch, if you like, and your help. So
Yes.
what I want to jump into a little bit about your business now, because obviously you have you're a life member of our network. You've joined and you're passionate. This is the first time we've got to really speak to you, and you're passionate about people's helping people with their ailments with herbs. Now, obviously, if I go out and sprain my ankle or I break my leg, there's still going to be an element where I have to put my faith in surgeons, right? But there's a lot, as I'm an example for obviously holistic living and changing my diabetes. So,
Yes.
what type of ailments do you find that you help people with the most that come to you in your everyday work?
That's a good question. I would say two. I would say high blood pressure and diabetes.
Really, diabetes? Actually, I know I didn't know that, and I wasn't jumping into that reason but to say that. So, all right, let's talk about high blood pressure because I
Yeah,
mean, in America, wow, I mean, high blood pressure is freaking crazy. It
it,
is.
it's common.
Really, it is, and I think it's not just the sedentary lifestyle. I think I mean, everything boils down to nutrition, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's not necessarily hereditary. It's down to your nutrition from what your parents would eat or put on the table for you as well. What the children are eating now, what we're currently eating now as adults.
mm.
There's a lot that plays a role in there.
So what? Anybody who's listening out there, they're going to think, okay, if they've got some high blood pressure, they're going to want to know what would you suggest? What herbs do you suggest to them that would be okay? This is the golden thing that you need to take to deal with your blood pressure.
I would definitely start with purple sea moss, and it's a
Wow.
seaweed. It's all natural seaweed. They could do a purple sea moss gel or the purple sea moss capsules, and
Right?
I make. They could also do elderberry syrup would be really great. And then if we want to do herbs for as a powder herb, I would say black ginger and black garlic. And then we have black turmeric. Those three.
I've heard of some of them. Some of them I haven't heard of, and
Really?
none of them I'm actually like these will deal with your blood pressure. So that's kind of shocked me
Wow.
a little bit actually. Um, yeah, I've never heard of them ones before. That's very unique. I mean, I know I've said to people to take things like nattokinase and to utilize nattokinase and things like that. But never the concoctions that you're talking about. Tell me a little bit more about the sea moss or the because that's really I've never heard of that one.
Yes, sea moss is a seaweed.
Right?
And right, it's like in the ocean. They scuba dive and they have to go dive all the way down and get it. And Well, I could dive into like the benefits. I'm not too sure if you want me to dive into the health benefits.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so it contains 92 vitamins and minerals that the body needs. So it's like a mega super antioxidant vitamin
Right.
that you can take every day. And it gives you so much energy. Everybody that takes it, they stop drinking coffee. They used to be heavy coffee drinkers. Now they have energy without drinking coffee. They have energy for about 12 hours to 24 hours. And they also use it like a pre and a post workout when they're working out at the gym. It tones your body and your muscles, and it also
Wow.
flattens your stomach. So a lot of people had their stomach flat that had like flab, and their stomach is now flat.
What, like getting rid of the brown adipose tissue underneath your obviously your layer of your skin and stuff like epidermis?
Yes, that's correct.
Pardon my French, ladies and gentlemen, but holy shit, I've really actually never heard of this stuff. you know, and
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 there's
I'm the guy that owns a holistic network. I've never come across this, so this is quite unique for me. All
and
right, so it seems to have a lot of benefits.
yes, you can use it on the outside of your skin too as a Botox. So it will tighten your skin and reverse your aging process. I've had so many people, a
Really?
lot of my clients, reverse their aging process to where they used to look like they're 60 years old. Now they look like they're in their 30s.
Well, I'm only 21. Come on. I don't take any of that. I don't take any of that. All right, so I mean, that's all right. Maybe we'll jump back into that product. So that's that product,
Yeah.
and you make that, or you don't go scuba diving for it, do you?
No, I
I
just
was
get
gonna,
it shipped to me in a big
right,
bowl.
and you
So I
make it.
start.
So what is some of the other ailments that you see? I mean, obviously you talked about diabetes, and that's a huge one in America.
It is.
And obviously in that's quite heavy in the black community as well. I've noticed. I've got a lot of
Yeah.
friends and people that I know, and they've said to me, you know what, in our community, it's rife. Why do you think that? Why do you think that is? Is it genetic makeup or
It could be several things. It's education. It
right,
starts with education. They weren't really necessarily educated in school at an
right,
elementary age. So
right?
it starts from, like elementary all the way up to college level. Even in the kitchen when they were cooking, the cooks, that were cooking in the kitchen at the school, they didn't necessarily teach about nutrition, or they didn't have nutritional foods available. We just had pizza, and kids love pizza,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
french fries, and nachos. So we had junk food from the very beginning, and
Right.
then we had education about that food that we're consuming.
Yeah, I think that's the case all actually, and it doesn't matter, where you come from in the world. I think that's the same thing. But I have noticed there are places in the world where they are a lot healthier than we are in the Western world. In Japan, for instance, I
Yes,
mean, wow, they're really freaking healthy
that's
out there.
correct.
I saw it's interesting. I saw this post yesterday on Facebook, and it had this Japanese guy, and he had like a godlike body, and this post was like, he doesn't he eats tacos, he eats this,
Wow.
he eats that, he eats nothing, he drinks beer, he doesn't exercise. How does he keep like this? And then you have to look at the photograph, and then at the bottom it says, well, don't know who the guy is in the front side, but the guy who's sitting on the step on the back of the photograph was really fat and really and out of shape and everything else. And it kind of does kind of play a little bit with your mind, because you do see that the reality is, if you don't have that education and that knowledge, you can be duped, and the reality is, if you don't take this on board, then
Yeah.
you are going to get, and it don't matter where you are in the world. But I have to say, I have a lot of friends all over the world in all different cultures, and I would have to say in Japan, not so
Wow.
much in China. Japan, they're very healthy, and I studied martial arts for many years, and I went over to Japan and trained. And
Where is
even
Japan?
yeah, and I went to Tokyo and to Noda,
I love it.
and oh, it's brilliant. It was great. I'm a bit of a photographer as well, so I love taking shots and photographs, and they are really healthy out there. And um, they're very much into like herbs and natural products that you're talking about.
Very nice.
And and even the Chinese, and what I find is that we're so backwards at coming forwards. Like
Yeah.
your gran was brought up with I mean, you're following this path from
Yeah.
her where you're into the herbs and everything else. They've been doing it for thousands of years and we're only just catching up. Just
Yeah.
same in India. They've been doing it for thousands of years and we're only just catching up with it now.
Yeah, we have to go backwards because this education that we have is really bad.
What is your favorite herb that you could never live without now?
My favorite herb,
Yeah. I
purple
love how
sea.
you say herb and I say in my Scottish accent herb. So that's brilliant.
I love that.
Yeah, so what's your favorite herb?
Well, my favorite herb would be purple sea moss.
Really?
Yes.
How did you come across that then? Was that in your training?
You know what? In my training, they had seaweed, but they had kelp. I'm not sure if you're familiar with kelp seaweed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Great too for aging and gray hair and so much more. But then
No,
I
I've
was talking.
just eaten it in Japanese food.
Yes. Oh, I loved it. Japanese soup. It's so good with
Yeah,
seaweed.
But seaweed kelp in it. That's the only way I get it.
That's the best way.
Natural. So you like this? So how did? Yeah. So sorry. How you came across this then?
Oh yes, and well, I came across it because my teacher, she was talking to me about kelp, and when I took my exam, I wrote in there what I would suggest for a client. So we had like a testimony of a client, what they would say they're going through, and I would say, well, I would suggest if they have low energy, they need a seaweed. So let's suggest purple sea moss. And she was like, well, what's that? So I was teaching my teacher what that seaweed was, and then now she uses that in her curriculum. So we're all just
Wow.
teaching at that point too. I found that interesting.
No, we on our network we haven't actually probably covered that even in any one of our news articles or anything else. So we should really hit you up for to maybe do some information on purple sea moss. We don't know
Yes.
nothing on it, and
I
and
would,
that would be good because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there would want to connect with you to learn more about that. And like I said, I'm not. I mean, I'm not ignorant in the holistic world, but I really don't know a great deal about it. So this is an invitation for you to maybe you can come and teach like a master class for the public or something on purple sea moss. Put it
I
out
would
there.
love that. That would be my first master class.
There you go. So that would be awesome. I need to learn a little bit more about it. All right, so I'm going to throw you into something. So there's something in America as well. Diabetes is that helps
Yeah.
with your blood sugar and stuff like that. But I want to jump into the female community, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because this does affect us guys, and I'm talking about that bugaboo when you get to that certain age and you go through all the hormonal changes,
Yeah.
menopause, right? I don't know why God, in His infinite wisdom, decided that menopause was a great thing for women. Because I can't fathom it out. Because women go through a
Yeah.
terrible thing. Not brilliant for the guys either, but they go through a terrible thing. So, what would you say? I know there's going to be a lot of women that are listening to holistic podcasts. There's going to be a lot of women who are going through
Yeah.
menopause at the moment, and it really is. And I take my hat and give my heart out to everybody. Every woman out there goes through it.
Yes.
Holy hell! It's a hell of a journey. So, what would you say to a woman who's starting to go into the perimenopause and menopause phase in terms of your expertise in holistic herbalism or herbalism? How would you take them down that path, and what would you suggest they take to deal with their symptoms? Not that I'm an expert right now.
I would definitely say change your diet. Talk with your doctor too. But you definitely want to change your entire I'm sorry, not your doctor, but your entire diet. I was like, uh-oh, tongue
Change
twister.
your doctor, especially if they get you on drugs. Yeah, okay.
Yes. And so you definitely want to start off with you could do sage. A lot of people cook with sage with chicken. You could do like a sage dressing, which is
Right,
really good. And so I would say sage and do a black cohosh tea, an herbal tea.
right.
So when you do those combinations together, you could even do sage and black cohosh tea. And when you do those together, it's great for menopause. So it would help with like a lot of those hot flashes, a lot of the symptoms. But you definitely want to I can give you a consultation. You know, anybody that has any questions out there,
Mhm.
I can give you a 10-minute free consultation, and we can find the herb that you need.
A lot of women I notice as well go through at a very emotional trigger points during the menopause situation. Um,
Yeah,
and they get very depressed, unhappy, because of the fluctuations
yeah,
in their body. Which again, I go back to why the good Lord actually create. I've got no idea, and I know that he's everything he does. You know, everything God does is perfect and everything else. But sometimes I'm like, did you slip up? Because no, please, all you religious guys out there and women, don't attack me. I'm only joking.
yes,
But but it is quite serious, and
yeah.
I've read a lot of reports and things online where women get suicidal. It affects their relationships and their environment. How can herbs help women who are really emotionally drained that way?
I would definitely go for a lemon balm. Lemon balm is really good. Like if you're going through a lot of mental stress,
Right?
that and myrtle, lemon balm, myrtle is great. You want to focus on your nervous system. You want to kind of get that checked out too.
Mhm.
Just maybe just by meditating for just a little while, maybe 30 minutes.
Meditating, yeah, it's brilliant.
Those work great, don't they?
Yeah,
And just
absolutely.
changing the state of your mind. Sometimes we just have to just change the way that we think or the way that we see life. Like if we see that things are happening around us that are going wrong, we can
Mm,
say it's going right. And if we think it's going bad, we can say everything is good. Because when it goes good in your mind, it starts to go
mm.
good out there in the universe.
That's easier said than done, though. Especially when
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're a woman coming through. You know, your body's changing. You're no longer going through the time of the month menstrual cycles, and you still have that thing. You still have that change. And I think, yeah, you can have a direct, yeah, I can change my thought process, but it's so hard to do that.
It is hard. I do want to throw one more herb out there because I just thought about it. For women out there, I would say the first thing to get is Sheila Jet. Everybody's talking about Sheila Jet, and it's a risen. It's like a little syrup that's thick,
Wow.
and it's like a blackstrap molasses, and that's another one that's really great
Right.
to take. So that'd be great for like the menopause, for symptoms of PMS, any type of pain, any cramps. And I love Sheila Jet because it's really great for the pain, the inflammation, the cramps that you would have. It gives you the energy that you need when you're on your cycle. And it also shortens your cycle. So I know some women have like 7-day cycles, 14-day cycles, and
Wow.
they would prefer to make an herbal tea for them. And I would make a horsetail tea with mangoes, and it works and shorten their period down from 7 days to 3-day period.
Wow. That's
It's
actually
great.
that is good. Yeah. That is something else. I can't talk about having any experience of that, but obviously I'm going to take your word for it. So if you're
Yeah,
listening out there and you're going through this, maybe that's a combination that you should be thinking about, ladies and gentlemen. So
yeah, absolutely.
I want to jump into another problem I think in the US. And
Uh-oh.
let's go to our younger community, right? Because I see, right, we've got so many young folks um, addicted to drugs, addicted to, well, alcohol, everything else that kind of goes on in the world, even addicted to social media and stuff like that. I don't know if there's a herb for social media, but there should be. So, Kimberly, if you want to try and grow one and invent one, that'd be awesome. But
That'd be great.
I think our younger community here in America suffers, and all over the world. But I've seen it more. I've seen it more here because I live here. I might have a Scottish accent, but I live here. And I feel a lot of compassion for the young community who get hooked so
Yeah.
easy on drugs, and especially with fentanyl and everything else that's going on. I mean, it's just destroying us. But even simple things that they get hooked onto. What kind of someone and there comes a time. Like I have a friend of mine, he's a great musician Cliff, and he's been on some of my other podcasts. Phenomenal guy. And he beat his drug addiction, right?
Wow.
But he beat it. It was through music. But there's going to be people there that maybe are not musical, they don't take other things. But what kind of herbs do you think can help someone who is young and who has an addiction that they're coping with?
Well, I would say they need to have an herbal bath. That would be really great with Epsom salt and some herbs and essential oils.
Mm,
And take those baths twice a day. And that would just help to just draw a lot of the alcohol out the blood and help with your mood and depression as well. Because people get depressed
mm.
when they're going through that state of
Yeah,
either
yeah,
alcoholism
yeah.
or depriving from alcohol, recovering.
What herbs? Because there's
Oh,
people out
yeah.
there that are going to be like, oh yeah, she says a herbal bath, but what herbs?
So the herbs, it all depends if that person wants to get off of alcohol,
Yeah,
like if they stop drinking and then they want to continue to stop drinking, I would say go for purple sea moss. That'd be first.
right,
Then take your elderberry syrup. That will boost your immune system.
right.
And then take some herbal teas, which would be lemon balm. Myrtle would be a really good one. Reishi mushroom.
Oh
And you
yeah,
want to take your,
mushrooms. Yeah.
there's like 15 different mushrooms I could name like right now, like a
I
king
love mushrooms.
trumpet,
Love mushrooms.
maitake, shiitake. And then you could do oyster mushrooms. You could fry those, make oyster mushroom chicken. It's
Mm.
really delicious. But there's so many different herbs that they could do and different dishes that they could make and change their diet too. And get plenty of exercise, drink plenty of spring water.
What can help them? No, that helps to get it out of the system. What would you say to someone that says, "Okay, Kimberly, I'm dealing with drugs. I'm getting off it or alcohol, whatever it is, and I feel as if I'm cleansing, but I have this drive, this urge, this psychological urge. Is there anything
Yeah.
that you can give them that would help them deal with it psychologically and maybe kind of deal with that drive to continue taking the drug or continue taking the alcohol?" You there?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's right. So did you hear what I said?
What was your question?
So how would you help a young person who has come to you and they said, "Kimberly, I've been successfully. I'm dealing with the drugs. I'm dealing with the alcohol. It's coming out of my system, but I still have this urge. I still have this psychological drive that I want to take. I want to use." What would you suggest to them to help them? And what could they take to help them?
I would suggest a fast, a 30-day fast. And it
Wow.
sounds crazy, but it definitely is something that they really need because of what they're going through, the symptoms and the condition that they're in. They need to completely detox and fast. So they need to have a water fast and they could do spring water. And then they also could do distilled water when they come off of that fast, drink distilled water.
Wow. Now, how you're talking? They don't take any herbs then to help them through that, to help them through that psychological.
Absolutely. They could definitely choose to do a water fast with just herbs, or they could do a water fast with herbs. I'm sorry, water fast separately from the
Right,
herbs. Or altogether, the best option is a water fast with the herbs and then also smoothies and herbal teas.
right.
You know,
What herbs? I'm doing it. What
yeah,
herbs would you give them for to deal with their psychological issue?
psychological. I would go for passion flower
Right,
because it's great for psychological and your nervous system.
right, right.
I would say, excuse me, the other one would be number two, Damiana. Damiana is also a
Never
great
even
one.
heard of that.
Really?
No.
These are great herbs. These are great for insomnia too. If you have trouble sleeping.
Mm, that's brilliant. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about um, you now and what you're hoping to achieve with your not only your business but in your life in general with your the direction that you're on with holism. Tell us a little bit
Yes.
more about
Well, the direction that I'm going is to serve more people and to serve people at a mass level, on a distribution level to where I could just do international,
that. Hmm.
and national as well, and just worldwide, just to serve the people and get the message out there that health is wealth and that it should be
Mm,
taken serious. And you should spend your money on health and wellness and supplements because, when you don't and you choose to do junk food,
mm.
it's like you're killing your cells, you're killing your body, and you're not evolving. You're going the back way of evolving. So it's kind of reversing.
And I have to say, it's a lot cheaper than medical bills.
Yes. Because I know so many people that wake up in the morning, they don't have any energy, right?
Yeah,
So they're going out their day feeling like a zombie,
yeah,
and
oh
that's
yeah.
what they're not having any supplements to give them that energy that they need, that boost to boost
Mm,
your immune system. And so I see that when they buy things that are not for their health,
mm.
they're actually just going into poverty, buying a lot of material things that they don't use
Yeah,
and hoard these things in their house. But the thing is that they need to realize the most important thing is inside of their body, and they have to care for what's inside, not on the outside.
I
So
love that.
again, back to education, I think education should tell people and show people how to love their body, what's inside of them more. And they could do that, and it's less expensive. It really is if you do it the right way.
Listen, I have to say, I've got friends of mine that have had diabetes. That I got a friend of mine that nearly died with diabetes too, Tim, and he ended up in hospital. He's got a bill for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right?
Oh no.
I I don't have medical insurance here, and I realized there's no way I can go down that. So I had to. I'm an ex-soldier, so I just I had a British soldier. I just put a military cap on and put a military head on. I bought a book by Dr. Jason Fung. Big shout out to anybody who's got diabetes to read that book. And I put
Yes.
into practice what he said in that book. Now, that probably cost me
Wow.
$20 and intermittent fasting and maybe a little bit of buying some different nutrition. I think I'd use some berberine and stuff like that. I dropped 78 pounds and totally reversed diabetes too. Now there's the
Wow.
difference. There's the difference. There's the holistic approach, ladies and gentlemen, and there is the Western medical approach, where it's drugs, it's everything else. It's put the effort in, put the work in. If you really love your body, if you really love your life, then the holistic side of things is natural. It's a God-given gift that
Yes.
we've been given. I mean, let's face it, even the pharmaceutical companies, not that I like talking about them and I'm not giving them any shout outs or anything, but they use the same herbs as you do. You just use them more naturally and they kind of compound them and add chemicals and all sorts of shit.
They do add chemicals. They really do.
And it might take a little bit longer with natural herbs, but it's more sustainable.
It could take longer.
Absolutely. Um, Kimberly, I want to thank you for being on Optimizing Human
Thank
Potential.
you.
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everybody out here got something from
Yep.
this. And where can they contact you? Obviously, they can contact you on the Holistic Network, on the Holistic Therapies Directory. But where else? You've got a website, you've got the details.
Yes.
Give them some details.
My website is https colon // starchildmarazul.com / And again, that's https colon / starchildmarazul.com / And they could reach me at that website, or also I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well platform.
Fantastic. And we'll have your links in the show notes and everything else. Now, uh, Kimberly,
Yay.
thank you for being a part of the Holistic Network. I can't wait for you to do a class for not only for our members, but also for the general public. So you'll be hearing a lot more from Kimberly and her expertise in the herbal field, as we say. I love that, herbal. And
Or
I'm sure people will want to connect with you. So I'm looking forward to learning more from you and seeing you doing a lot more to help people out there. Final thoughts that you want to give to people out there regarding herbs and their lifestyle.
Yes, I would say that always put God first. Like I always put God first. I read a scripture every day. I read my word, and he leads me out to nature. And then from there, he tells you that there's plants and there's medicine in these plants out in nature. So I would say get out there in nature, connect with God, change your entire lifestyle. Change is good. It can be scary, but the opposite of fear is love. So you
Love it.
always want to love yourself, love your neighbors, love your neighbor like yourself, and love your friends and your family, and try new things, new recipes together, come together like they did back in the day at the table and sit down and talk to your family. How was your day? How are you doing today? Would you like to do something together tomorrow, this weekend, when you have time? Let's get together. We need to start connecting with our family outside of social platforms and just getting into nature, and then also changing our diet and our lifestyle.
I absolutely love that. I love that. Kimberly, thank you for being a guest
You.
on Optimizing Human Potential. This is Jock here signing off. This is Optimizing Human Potential from the Holistic Network, which is also the Holistic Therapies Directory. If you are a holistic professional and you want to come and join us and also get your message out to the world, then please connect with us. But make sure that you connect with Kimberly. There is some fascinating information there. And who knew about purple sea moss? And I know a lot of you out there are going to say, "Yeah, we knew about it, Jock, and my God, you should have known about this." But I didn't know. But I had a blast, and we'll definitely
It
have you
was fun.
back on. Yes, it was fun. We'll have you back on, and we've got lots
Yay!
more guests coming up as well. So if you've got a
I can't.
question for Kimberly, then reach out to us. Get onto the
Yes,
website, Holistic Therapies Directory. Send a message. Say, "Hey, got the podcast. Here's a message. Here's a question I have for Kimberly." We will put you in touch with her. Have a wonderful day, guys. Kimberly, can't wait to see you back. God bless.
I can't. Thank you. God bless. Bye.